So obviously, um, I was just talking to you guys about fear. So now I've got to talk about the opposite of fear, which is safety. Well, in a way, um, safety is probably the number one first priority that we um have. It's probably God's number one first priority for all of the beings of existence is safety. But what is safety, and does safety actually exist? So I'm gonna get into that. The answer is yes and no. Okay. Um, when there has been so much pain, so many different forms of nightmares that we have been through, it makes you think, does safety actually exist? And I know a lot of people, they kind of, they talk about faith. They're all about, like, you just have to have faith, you have to have faith, you have to have faith in God, faith in whatever. Everything happens for a reason. But the truth is that is just a sad coping mechanism for the actual truth, which is that at one point there was no safety. Things were not just happening for a good reason, things were just happening because they could happen. And I'm talking just like every single type of nightmare you could possibly think about. Everything you could think about the physical body going through. Both things where it involves another being torturing and harming another being. Or if you think about things where it's nobody's fault, it's just an accident. Like, imagine I could just get into an accident, I could have my hand chopped off. I could get into an accident and I could burn alive, or I could get into something where, like, what was I gonna say? Or I could just be born with some really painful disease or some shit, right? So essentially, all of these are forms of unsafety, or there could be a natural disaster, or on top of that, then there's like people torture each other, people torture children in our world. That's what takes place in our world. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, think about stuff like, I know I brought this up before, like children being put through FGM, genital mutilations, and being put through all types of like torture, even just when they're young children. So clearly the question is, where's the safety? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, where is safety? Does safety actually exist? And my answer for you may surprise you, hopefully pleasantly. Safety does exist. But to understand how safety exists, you have to first understand, number one, we are dreaming right now. Everything in form, which means form just means like things taking form in the physical, or rather things taking some sort of form. In your dreams, things take form as well, but it's just it's less dense. So you have to understand we're dreaming, and you have to understand your dreams. So understand when you're in a nightmare, like I was talking about, when you're in a nightmare, you have to awaken to the fact that you are the dreamer, dreaming the dream, to actually eliminate the nightmare. Because in your dreams, if you're having a nightmare, and you don't remember your dreaming, then the nightmare will repeat. If you're in a nightmare and you begin to build up the frequency of fear, and the frequency of trauma, and remember, fear is the memory of pain, then most likely the nightmare will repeat, because when you're in a dream, things happen very quickly. And when you're in the physical, or when you're in what we call reality, which is like, the reality is the deepest layer of dream. It's a collective dream that we all agree into. When you're in reality, it's the same. If you are aware, if you're aware that you are dreaming, if you're aware that you are the one in control, then the parasitic programming to think that things could go wrong or that you are not safe, because the idea that you are not safe is a parasitic program. Do you hear me? It's a parasitic program, like a virus on a computer. And you have to know that you are the one dreaming and that you are the one in control to actually have safety. But with that realization, with that awakening, with that being awake and being aware that you are dreaming, being conscious, you are safe. Now, of course, God will always try and protect everybody as much as possible, And of course, all of the loving people will try and protect the ones who are not aware that they're dreaming. For example, when a mother gives birth to her children, she will be the one to protect them through her dreaming, through her awareness, until they are ready to protect themselves and, really understand that they need to stay aware and they need to remember they're in control. However, the problem is God can only. This is why they say that you have to have faith, faith or something, right? Do you know what I'm saying? They say like people say faith is so important. Like you gotta have faith in God, faith in whatever. The truth is God can only ensure your safety through you, because God lives inside of you, not outside of you. God's not watching from the sky to make sure that you're safe and nothing bad happens. God's watching from within you, and the thing is unless you bring God's awareness out into yourself and out into the dream you're dreaming, and unless you bring that inner being, inner awareness, and know that you are safe because of that, and know that you are protected, anything can happen. Now, as I said, God and the universe and the angels and all of the guardians and the elevated ancestors and all of the loving beings will be trying to protect everybody, every single different being, when we are having a life experience or having a dream. But the sad truth is that unless the being itself, like me, maintains awareness and awakens from within the dream, there is always danger and there is always unsafety. That's why, like, my whole life I felt unsafe, and my whole life I felt terrified for myself, for my family. Not all the time, 24/7, but like there was a deep fear that lived within me. But what is fear? Fear is the memory of pain. It was the memory of the original winning of the universe. And it was because I was getting nightmares. Every single night of my life since I was a baby, toddler, child, I was getting nightmares. The parasitic programs feeding off of my fear. And so I honestly, when I was a kid, I thought this is never gonna stop. It's just gonna be an endless cycle of like nightmares and this, that. But then what happened was I awakened, and I faced it, and I went, okay, right. So fear is the memory of pain. Now I'm remembering that we have been through a lot. And I'm also remembering that I'm dreaming. And I'm also remembering that actually I'm the one in control. God is in control. God is in control because I know God is in control now. Yeah, okay. So that's what safety is. Safety is really awareness that God is in control, you are in control. Safety is eliminating any parasitic programs trying to tell you that you are unsafe. And they can come in many forms. They can come in health issues, trying to tell you that you're not healthy, that you have some issue. That's parasitic false programming. Why would you have one issue? You are the spirit in the flesh. And that's why you see people being miraculously healed in religious settings, because their subconscious programming truly believes that they can be healed by the Holy Spirit, Christ, or that it can be healed by Allah, whatever it is, right? And then when someone, the pastor, the preacher, the priest comes around and goes, the people there be shaking, like, I can walk. I was disabled and now I can walk, right? Why did that happen? Is that fake? No, it's not fake at all. It's real. What that is God. And that is God, the super consciousness of the spirit, coming and setting you free from the false parasitic program that there was something wrong to begin with. So the idea that anything could be wrong in your reality, the idea that there could be lack, or that there could be worse than lack, danger, is parasitic, and you have to be aware and eliminate those. You know what? Take out them demonic programs and eliminate them. Okay, so that's for safety. Now, you gotta know you're safe. You gotta know you're protected, and that is the protection. Sadly, those who do not know they're protected and know they're safe are in a kind of painful place where they feel terrified because they haven't awoken yet. But yeah, I hope you understand what I'm saying here, and I hope this has helped you.